Okay, so now we're ready to stitch our little summer picnic quilt. And I like to start by making sure that the borders are down good. So I've picked a blanket stitch and I have a favorite. I like one that starts stitching on the outer edge and takes a couple stitches forward and always moves forward, or actually pulls the fabric backwards. You'll see what I mean right here. See a couple on the side and then it jumps in. This gives you better control, especially around curves. And with a thicker thread, like I like to use a 28 weight Aurifil, or in this case I'm using a 30 weight Sulky, which is just a wonderful cotton thread. Sulky sent me some threads to try, and I have to say I have fallen in love with them. I've been a solid Aurifil thread girl for a long time, but these are just as nice. I understand they're made in Germany, and look how nice they stitch. Beautiful threads. So I would stitch all of these down. I'm going to show you how I stitch a curve, and I'll show you on this heart because it's a nice little easy curve. Well, yeah, let me show you on the heart. I start with a heart. I start on the inside point where it goes together, the V part, not the point, but the V part. Okay, and that way, if you have needle up and needle down on your machine, this is going to be very helpful with all of your applique. And you may want to slow it down a little bit. So you just want to start, take a couple stitches, and then like right now, it's getting ready to kind of be a curve. You know, if you can see the edge of the fabric in here, you always want that to be in line with your needle, because the machine is always going to pull everything in a straight line, because your machine only sews really in a straight line. We are the ones that make the curves when we move our fabrics. So in order to do that, you want to be able to take a couple stitches. Now see, it's getting off right there, just in that little bit, just those few stitches. So I'm going to turn it again. And this is where having those extra little stitches on the side really helps you to be able to get your curves nice and tight, or loose, but up against, because you want to look at your needle and have your needles hit just, see how that's just piercing just on the side of the applique laser cut piece. If you pierce your piece, then you end up fraying your piece of fabric, and that gives you little frayed edges, which isn't always attractive on your finished product. I mean, sometimes it's inevitable, like right there, I think I hit it anyway. Now, this is where we're getting down here to the point. And what I would do, this machine only allows me to go as narrow as 2.5. A lot of your machines will go to a much narrower stitch, and I would make my stitch tinier. But I'm going to kind of let it bite into that point and then turn it. Excuse me for bumping the camera. And then come back around. If you have a narrower stitch, you can actually hit it where it would cover that point. If you have a knee lift on your machine, that sometimes makes doing this a lot easier as well. I did not have a knee lift when I first started doing applique. Of course, I don't even think they had knee lifts back then. But I've finally taught myself how to use it. It was really frustrating at first, but if you can learn how to use your knee lift, you will love it after you get kind of used to it. You just give your leg a little blip over and it lifts your presser foot for you. Or you can be like this and just keep your hand steady right there, which is why I like to have this start-stop button with the machines now. I don't ever seem to plug in the presser or the foot pedal that comes with the machines anymore. And we just come right down here, and we're going to end up back at the point. And here we are. And fortunately that took a nice stitch in there, and we are ready to lift up. And then I would, see how nicely that worked? And I guess I really didn't fray it, maybe that one stitch there. What you would want to do now is thread a needle and pull your threads to the back and tie them. This will make sure that everything is nice and secure and your threads won't come loose. When you're in the same area as this, if you're talented, you can sometimes thread the needle And I'm using a really large eye needle here, so I should be able to do this. Should is the proper term. Get both threads in at the same time. And I did it. Of course, if you could see how big this, no, I did not do it. Darn it. Well, do them one at a time if you have to. But you get the point. Get in there, little guy. I completely missed it. Okay, this is getting boring for y'all. Does this ever happen to you? Anyway, thread it, pull it to the back, and tie a couple little knots, and then snip your threads. Well, I got one. Okay, guys. This is going to be a single time. Thread them both. Do it twice. Everybody's probably going, oh my goodness, she's having fun trying to thread a needle.
Only when the camera's on.
That's right. Okay, so then you'll have these in the back. Pick up your little guys. That one's caught under there. Get that out. Oh my goodness. Butterfingers, huh? There we go. So just want to give it a little ties here. And then snip it. And that's nice and neat. And then you get to do this for the entire thing. Now on these green little stems, I'll show you what I did with these. Here's the original. And just do a straight stitch through, and then a straight stitch around these little tiny ones. It's really hard, especially on these little teeny weeny ones, to go around that with a blanket stitch unless you're using a machine where you can take it down to a 1.5 maybe, or a 1 to stitch it. I can't do that with this machine, so I did a straight stitch, which I kind of like the way it looks, and just went straight up through the piece, and that did that. But you can see on the bow I was able to do a tiny stitch. I think I did the purple at my house with the machine that has a smaller stitch. Here in the shop we just have this sample demo machine, which is a great little machine. Okay, so that's it. I hope you have fun stitching your summer picnic.